Welcome back to Pacific Northwest Wreckage. I'm Christian, and I keep saying that it's probably the final installment, so I'm not going to say it this time, and it's probably going to be the final installment as a result. So you, being an educated consumer, are doing your research to make sure that you're getting the best price you can for your money. Well done. Well done. One of the things that you'll notice in this is a pretty common advertising technique as you're perusing websites is an as low as price. They'll probably show MSRP because that's a big scary looking number, and then sale price, which may be like 9K off or 10K off, and that's, I think, a pretty common sort of range. And then you'll run into the as low as price. Words of warning, that is by and large not something most people qualify for. For example, when I bought one of the additional like $3,000 incentives or discounts, and those are not the same thing, and I can't explain to you the difference, but one of the additional discounts or incentives was if I'd purchased a Case tractor in the last year. I didn't really realize that Case and Fiat Chrysler automobiles had some sort of arrangement there, but there are other things that can include a military discount, a business discount, and a variety of other things. But it, generally speaking, is not going to be something that the average guy or gal qualifies for. So keep in mind that as you're shopping, be looking at the sale price for the likely price that you're going to be presented with were you to just go in there, have your credit pulled, or pay in cash and drive it off the lot. My first video covers the process of sort of shopping that around to different dealerships, but beyond that process, I wanted to give, again, some words of advice or words of warning about incentives and discounts. Those fluctuate month to month, and a lot of times you have these like year-end sales that are just really spectacular, and then not a lot going on January, February, March maybe. Sometimes you don't, sometimes you get lucky and there's all sorts of stuff, or it's like a model at year-end clearance, or who knows. I mean, there's a variety of things that can happen that can affect really what your actual bottom line is for your truck. And as you go through that process, just remember that especially if you custom order, you're eligible for whatever incentives and discounts came along that you were eligible for on any given month from the time that you ordered your truck and put your deposit down, or didn't if you have a super trusting dealership, to the time that you actually picked it up. Meaning that I placed my order for this truck in January and picked it up in March. So according to Chrysler, and you will have to talk to Chrysler to get that information, to get that assurance rather than your dealer, because they can manipulate those numbers so that you're paying slightly more and that they are basically reaping the benefit of a truck that would have sold for significantly less if you'd done your homework. Please do your homework, and please be willing to make some people uncomfortable. That whole structure that's not something that dealership is going to volunteer to you, because they don't have to, and they're already giving you a sale price. I mean, legally they could sell the thing for MSRP. That's why it's the manufacturer suggested retail price. But they're not doing that because obviously they wouldn't really sell any trucks except maybe a handful. But so remember that you're eligible for all of those discounts. Get in writing each month what those discounts are. You can pull them off of the Chrysler website. A lot of times on the Ram Trucks website, it'll be listed there as well. And generally speaking, if you're just walking in off the lot or onto the lot to pick one up, you're eligible for a previous month's discounts up until about noon of the following business day, or the first business day of the following month. I got pretty lucky and just landed on a really solid discount and incentive combination, I guess. I'm one of those guys who didn't qualify for like that Case tractor one or the military discount, or like that additional $3,000 off that you see in that as low as price. And so, but I still got a phenomenal deal because of the process that I outlined in video 1. So again, just trust no one. They're not going to provide you with this information. You'll have some time to wait if you custom ordered. And if you didn't, you still have some time to like kind of evaluate your options in terms of, well, hey, it looks like February is a really good deal, or it looks like May is a really good deal. I should probably just pull the trigger, because you never know what's going to come around the next month. Sort of an addendum to this conversation that I didn't sort of plan on as I started talking, but as it has occurred to me that is important information for you. if you custom order it, you're going to be talking pretty frequently with your sales guy. If you had an experience like I did, where I shopped a bunch of dealerships and went with the one that had a really good deal, but also the sales guy who was the least douchey, don't feel bad about their situation. Don't feel bad about trying to undermine their commission. And I know a lot of people are like, "What? Why would I ever feel bad about that?" And if that's your response, then nicely done. If it's not your response, congratulations, you also have a big heart, and that can get in the way of this process a little bit, because remember, they're heartless. So don't be too concerned about whether or not your sales guy is getting a raw end of the deal or not, because the bottom line is that most people don't talk about, there's something called dealer holdback, which is a way of them sort of being gifted $2,000 or so, when really they're making it look like they're not making any money on the deal. The other thing, and Google holdback and how that works, because there are some people who have gone really in depth with that, and there's a lot of really good information about it, and I could probably cover it, but that would require that I study it, and not likely. The other thing is that your sales guy may make a commission on the purchase of a truck. The other part of that is that your sales guy or gal may have like a tiered system where I am a sales guy, and it started pouring down rain. It's an omen. I'm a sales guy. I sell 8 trucks one month, and I get a 10% commission of the profit. The next month, I sell 10 trucks, and I get a 15% cut of the commission, or cut of the sale, of the profit. The next month, I kill it, and I sell 12 trucks, and I get like a 25% cut of the profit, because I'm selling that many trucks. Blah, 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 blah. The point of that is your sales guy is making an hourly wage. You could say that of servers and stuff too, and I won't get into that. But they also have that tiered system. What if you're truck number 12? They don't need to make any money on the actual commission off of your truck. They just need to sell that truck. So they could sell it to you and make not a single dollar. But because of how that pricing or how that commission structure works, you've bumped them, unbeknownst to you likely, into the next sort of like tier of commission, and essentially gifted them out of not your own pocket potentially several $1,000s. So if something doesn't make a lot of sense, remember that that's part of how dealerships can work, and I'm not saying all of them, but I have several friends who have worked or are working in the car industry, and I'm able to have pretty honest conversations with them about how that process works, and it's not an uncommon one. So keep that in mind. The only person who you should be concerned about is you, and I think just be like a relatively nice person about it, be willing to say no, and watch yourself, because you stand to gain or lose potentially at several $1,000s just purely based on timing. To clarify, let's say when you bought your truck, like when you actually put the money down on a custom order in January, let's say they had $15,000 in total discounts. You have a $70,000 sticker price truck, they want $55K for it, you guys come to some sort of an arrangement about that, and you get it in writing. Well, come a couple months later, that incentive has dropped to $10,000. You're like, well, thank God I got that in writing, otherwise I'd be $5,000 poorer. That can happen the other way around too, where the dealer doesn't volunteer to you. That's now suddenly in March, when you're picking your truck up, incentives have jumped from $10,000 to $15,000. They sell that truck to you at the price that you guys previously discussed, and that price is not final until you sign on that line and drive it off the lot. But once you do that, you're screwed if you're trying to come back and change anything about it. But they're not going to tell you that, because suddenly that $5,000 that this truck would have sold at, like $5,000 less that this truck would have sold at, you've paid that $5,000, and that just goes straight to the dealer. So as you shop around, as you get those price order confirmation sheets, I hope that you are lucky like I was, and that somebody accidentally sends you the dealer pricing structure. And I actually might go over that. The problem though is that as that video gets really popular, and I think it would because of that information, people catch on to that and things change, and people are unwilling to put prices in writing because they know that you're using this strategy. And so it's always kind of a double-edged sword of like, I don't want people to get screwed, but I also don't want people to break the system. And I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get there. There will always be a loophole or a workaround. I've had a lot of success with that, and I think you will too. Until we meet again, happy shopping.